Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be when you know, you know. Think about that for a minute. Guys, if you like the content, please subscribe. So, when you know, you know. Think about this. When you were in the narcissistic relationship, or perhaps you're still in it, looking to get out of it, when you know, you know. In other words, something is wrong. Something is off about this relationship or this individual. And you're beginning to see, or you have seen, strange behaviors. And perhaps you've seen the mask slip a few times and something isn't quite adding up. Maybe you went to Google and or YouTube and researched things like individual won't speak to me, or not being talked to, or rage fits, or whatever. And lo and behold, you found channels like mine or many others. And again, thank you very much for being here. And then you started to put the pieces together. In other words, you had your first light bulb moment. And you're starting to say to yourself, wait a minute, something's off. And I understand now, what is this thing called narcissism? I don't get it. And then you start to understand that all of your thoughts, everything that you have been watching and experiencing, these are real things. You're not just being gaslit by the narcissist. You are actually in a toxic narcissistic relationship. And perhaps the individual is your sibling, your mom, your dad, your lover, who knows, coworker. You slowly put things together and you're like, oh my gosh, like I can't get over this. Like, this exists. It does exist. It's real. It's all over the planet. Toxic, poor behavior, inaccountability. The narcissist is everywhere. And I'm not trying to upset anybody or trigger you. I'm just letting you know that the more education you get, the better you can battle these toxic individuals. But when you know, you know. Think about it. In the past, you would be in these relationships or this relationship, and you would be thinking to yourself, who does this? Who treats another individual the way I'm being treated? Who is so callous, so uncaring? Who can just act one way, in other words, maybe excited and happy and elated one day, and the next day act like you are the worst person on the planet, and there's no cause for it, there's no reason for it. This behavior is not rational. It is topsy-turvy. The relationship itself, many times when the front door would open, you wouldn't know who would be opening the door, Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde. You couldn't figure it out. And the more you worked for this person, the more you pacified them, the more you were there for them, the more poorly you were being treated. You see, this is narcissistic abuse in a nutshell. You can never satiate the narcissist for a period of time. It's only in the moment. And the narcissist knows this. They know that individuals that don't have the wisdom will put up with their poor behavior and tolerate them because perhaps these individuals are in love with them, or their family members, or they're financially dependent upon the narcissist. There are so many different reasons. There's so many thousands of layers to peel back of the onion. But when you know, you know, and you can't unsee what you've seen. In other words, when you were experiencing the poor behavior from the narcissist, you were making mental notes, you were observing, perhaps you were watching other individuals being treated so much better than you, complete strangers many times. And you're like, what's going on here? Like, I am this person's partner. We've been married for X number of years and I'm being treated so poorly. The reason you were being treated so poorly is because the narcissist knew that you were going nowhere. You were the human punching bag, if you will. You were the person to take all of the poor behavior in front of people and behind closed doors. You were the person to make them look good to the general public and accept the abuse back in the household. You were the person who would go to work and provide for the narcissist financially in many other ways, and then come home and again, do the dishes, rake the lawn, take care of the kids, pay the bills. It was a nonstop job when you were in the relationship. Think about it. You didn't have any peace. You didn't have any tranquility or serenity. You didn't have a month of nothing but abundance and just downtime. No, you had disruption, chaos, manipulation. You were always on the go, go, go. You were always working for the narcissist. And remember, the narcissist had a never-ending sheet of paper with things to do, the to-do list. It just didn't stop. And right when you accomplished the first 10 things on the list, here's 20 more, and more and more. Why was this the way it was? Because the narcissist needed to control you. They needed to occupy your time and to keep you living in the narcissistic fog. But when you know, you know. In other words, you had that one light bulb moment and you found information, or perhaps somebody turned you on to narcissistic abuse and you're like, oh my gosh, that is what I'm in. That's the relationship that I'm a part of. And it took you a long time to process it because you didn't know what narcissism was. You didn't know that perhaps you married a narcissist. And you couldn't figure out that how another individual could claim that they loved you and treat you so poorly. But yet, it's reality. And that's exactly what the narcissist does. That's why many times post-narcissistic relationship, or if you get the wisdom when you're in it, you really have to understand and practice radical acceptance. Like, oh my gosh, this is not what I thought it was. This is a toxic relationship, and I am supplying all of my resources for this person, and they don't even care about me. They don't even have the decency to reply to a text. They don't even answer the phone. What they do is they demand things from me, and they want me to do things, and if I do them, I get more things to do. If I don't do them, then I'm blamed for not doing them. I'm in a lose-lose situation. That's exactly how you feel when you're in a narcissistic relationship, that you are in a no-win situation. And to be fair, it's true most times until you get the wisdom, until you flip the script, until you get the message, until you put up boundaries, until you go no contact and block the narcissist and remove them and all flying monkeys and people associated with them if you can. If you can't, you utilize gray rock. You become boring. You don't offer the narcissist supply. But when you know, you know. And to explain your relationship to an average everyday human being and have them understand what you went through and or are going through, it's going to be very challenging for you and for them. I'll tell you why. Number one, for you, because you're going to want to explain so much information. I'm talking hours and hours of information to an individual because you have so much built up in your mind and so much to share to get out. And the individual is not going to have the bandwidth to understand what you're talking about because they don't know what narcissism is. So what they will be doing most times, this is if they haven't gone through narcissistic abuse, they'll be listening, but they can't process it. And it's not their fault. They don't have the wisdom, the experience. They can't wrap their head around what you're trying to understand and wrap your head around. Think about it. So when that happens, many times your social circle or support network will fall apart because they don't want to hear about what you're talking about because they can't wrap their head around it. But when you know, you know. That's why you need to find people, like-minded people, to communicate with, to bounce things off of, to join communities about narcissistic abuse, and to get the word out, and to feel that you are part of something bigger than this relationship. It's true. It's the way it is. It's exactly what I went through. It's when you first get the light bulb moment, you're like, oh my gosh, it's not just me. There are millions, billions of people like me. There are so many of us. And my hope is the wisdom's getting out there. But when you know, you know. This is why the narcissist, it's advantage narcissist when you're in the relationship until you get the wisdom. Until you get that first light bulb moment, that's when it's advantage you, because now you can educate yourself in your free time. Now you can remove yourself slowly from the relationship. Now you don't have to work for the narcissist. Now you can save your energy. Now you don't have to react to whatever they're asking you to do. Now you can learn to respond and not react. Now you don't have to answer the phone on the first ring like you were trained. Now you don't have to send 3 paragraphs of a text to an individual when they wrote you 1 sentence because you're explaining yourself. You see, this is when it is advantage you. And this is when you can slowly put yourself back together and understand that you are the priority and that the narcissist knew this the whole time. They simply wanted to extract your resources from you and they wanted you working for them. So when you know, you know. And what you've seen, you can't unsee. You see, this is now a superpower. Once you've come through the fire and risen through the ashes like a phoenix, this is a superpower. And you will understand that there's a higher purpose for you. And I can tell you right now, the purpose for you is not to remain in the narcissistic fog or the devaluation stage. It's not to be working for the narcissist. No, you've already done that. That was a period of time where you had to understand your value, and you did it, or you're doing it. And now my hope is you are removing yourself and or on the healing path and living your best life or beginning to take steps that benefit you. Keep this in mind. The narcissists, they look at individuals as opportunities, as people to exploit, to take advantage of. That is exactly what they do. That is why every narcissistic relationship has an expiration date. It just matters if you end it or the narcissist ends it. Because you are a wise individual. You are a smart individual. You're a person with abundance, empathy, love, strength, courage, commitment, dedication, devotion, resilience. The narcissist was banking on you succumbing to their whims and wishes, probably for the rest of your life. You're not doing that. You are now taking action. And when you know, you know. And explaining your relationship to people that don't understand narcissistic abuse, it is going to be challenging, I can tell you right now. But when you understand that there is a community, there are many communities of people that have gone through it, and you're a part of it, that's when you get the wisdom, and that's when you feel empowered. Like, I can actually communicate with people that have gone through this and share stories and experiences, and I can feel validated, and I can give myself the closure, and I can be strong enough to block the narcissist and go no contact. And I am beautiful, abundant, and radiant. That's true. It's all true. But when you know, you know. And until you get the wisdom, many times you know, but you can't quite put your finger on it. And when you get that first light bulb moment, like perhaps someone says, hey, I think you're in a narcissistic relationship. You should look into it. Or you go on Google and you find the word narcissism. Or you go on YouTube and you find my channel. Things like that. That's when you finally found that one needle in the huge haystack of abundance and information. When you find that needle, you need to begin sowing. You need to begin sowing the ending of the relationship and sowing your future plans without the narcissist. That's the path. That is what you must do. So when you know, you know. And do you have to explain yourself anymore? No, you don't. When you have the wisdom and the experience and the knowledge, that's when you understand that you, as long as you know what kind of relationship you're in and you want to be out of it, that's the path. But no longer should you be working for another individual when you're supposed to be in a loving, two-way, reciprocal relationship. No one should be working for another individual like that. No, it's not the way it is. The way it is if you are in a relationship, it should be a two-way street, not a one-way relationship that benefits one person. So guys, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon. Remember, continue to move forward each and every day. Continue to live your best life. Understand when you know, you know. And that's a beautiful thing. Getting the education and the wisdom is the path. Utilizing the knowledge and making yourself the best person possible is exactly what you must be doing. Remember, guys, no matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. I love you, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. All right, bye, guys.